When people imagine fame, they usually picture the glitz, the red carpets, and the endless fortune. But there's a darker side to it, one filled with stress, paparazzi, and the constant pressure of being in the public eye. Sometimes, that can push an actor to some pretty wild behavior. This is exactly what happened to Shia LaBeouf. Today, we're diving into the story of this talented actor and trying to answer a burning question. Did Shia really lose his mind, or was it all just part of an elaborate act? We're not here to say whether he truly went off the deep end or not. But what we do know is that his life turned into something of a performance art piece, intentionally or not. Every bar fight, every oddball interview, every viral art installation, it all pushed him deeper down the rabbit hole. So let's take a closer look at some of the wildest things Shia's done and try to understand how this once promising child actor ended up here. Let's roll back to the very beginning. Shia LaBeouf was born in 1986 to Shayna Sadie and Jeffrey LaBeouf. His mom was a Jewish dancer and jewelry designer, and his dad was a Vietnam vet with Cajun roots. It was an unconventional family, to say the least. Shia's described his childhood as pretty happy, if not a bit unusual. They lived like hippies, dressing up in goofy costumes and selling hot dogs to the neighbors. Sounds like a scene straight out of a quirky indie film, right? But when Shia was about 12, things took a turn. His parents split up, and money was tight. He started working as a clown to make ends meet, following in his dad's footsteps. For a while, he lived just with his dad, and that experience would leave a mark on him. His father had some serious issues, struggles with drugs and alcohol that bled into Shia's own life in ways he's talked about more in recent years. Despite these challenges, Shia got his first big break with Disney. He landed a role on the show Even Stevens, earning a few awards along the way. His career was taking off fast. He was just a teenager, but already he had that spark, the kind of energy that makes people sit up and pay attention. It didn't take long for Hollywood heavyweights to notice him. Steven Spielberg himself said he saw a young Tom Hanks in Shia. Soon, Shia signed a lucrative contract with DreamWorks, worth millions. The future looked bright. But just when everyone expected Shia to step into the A-list, the cracks started to show. This was when his eccentric behavior really began to stand out. Shia blamed some of his struggles on his dad's influence, saying his father used drugs and even gave them to him. Whether that's true or not, the industry seemed to give Shia a lot of leeway, treating his outbursts as just another sign of an artist's tortured soul. One of Shia's earliest run-ins with trouble came in 2005. He was 19, and one night he couldn't park his car because a neighbor's vehicle was blocking the way. Shia asked politely at first, but when the neighbor didn't move, he lost it. He started honking and cursing, then rammed his car right into the neighbor's. The clash didn't end there. A few hours later, Shia showed up at the guy's doorstep with a knife. Things got heated, but no one was seriously hurt. Still, it was enough to land him in the back of a police car for the first time. Then came the blockbuster days. DreamWorks put him in Transformers, though the director, Michael Bay, wasn't exactly sure about the choice. Spielberg suggested Bay watch Constantine, but that didn't fully convince him. So Shia decided to show up to his audition dressed like a typical 2000s teen, complete with the attitude. It worked, and he snagged the lead role. Bay's methods were intense, though. On the first day of shooting, he ordered dog trainers to set the dogs on Shia. Like a tough love lesson about the seriousness of filmmaking. Shia later said he was terrified those dogs would tear him apart. At one point, he even tried to quit and called Spielberg for help, but the studio had no plans to let him go. In the end, Transformers was a box office smash, and Shia, alongside Megan Fox, became one of Hollywood's hottest stars overnight. That kind of sudden fame can change a person, and for Shia, it definitely did. By the time Shia appeared in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he was already a household name in Hollywood. But even with his rising fame, he took a smaller paycheck for the chance to work alongside legendary actor Harrison Ford and director Steven Spielberg. For a while, it seemed like he was exactly where he was meant to be, on the fast track to becoming a major Hollywood player. Unfortunately, even this project couldn't fully stabilize his career. While the movie was a commercial hit, it received mixed reviews, and Shia himself later admitted that he didn't live up to the legacy of Indiana Jones. He was especially hard on himself for not giving the performance fans deserved. Then came the summer of 2008, a turning point in his personal life. Shia was involved in a serious car accident in Los Angeles. Reports said he had been drinking that night, but ultimately, he wasn't charged with a DUI because the accident wasn't his fault. Another driver had run a red light. The incident, however, left Shia with a badly injured hand that required surgery and several months of recovery. It also seemed to mark the start of a long, bumpy road for him, one where his raw talent and unpredictable behavior collided in front of the world. But it wasn't all chaos. Shia's next move was a surprising one. He chose to work on smaller, more experimental films that challenged him as an actor. He starred in Lawless alongside Tom Hardy, where he played a bootlegging outlaw during the Prohibition era. He was so committed to the role that he stayed in character even when the cameras weren't rolling. Some said it was intense dedication. Others saw it as further proof of how far he would go for his art. Shia also turned his attention to the world of performance art. In one of his most talked about stunts, he wore a paper bag over his head that read, "I am not famous anymore," at a movie premiere. The move sparked endless speculation. Was it a meltdown, or was it art? Either way, it showed that Shia was willing to put his personal struggles and feelings about fame on full display. Beyond the red carpets and film sets, Shia also collaborated on some truly strange performance pieces. In one project, he invited people to sit across from him in a gallery and do whatever they wanted while he sat there silently, often crying. In another, he live-streamed himself watching all of his own movies in a marathon session, sharing that vulnerable, almost painful self-examination with the world. As the years went on, Shia continued to walk the line between artistic brilliance and personal chaos. He was arrested several more times for drunken outbursts and disorderly conduct, often in situations that seemed to blur the lines between performance and real life. But through it all, he kept acting, kept creating, and kept challenging expectations. One thing's for sure, Shia's journey didn't slow down. In 2019, he wrote and starred in Honey Boy, a semi-autobiographical film that explored his childhood as a child actor with an overbearing father. It was raw, emotional, and deeply personal, almost like therapy in movie form. Critics praised Shia's honesty and vulnerability in Honey Boy. It was a major turning point for him, showing that he could channel his personal struggles into something profoundly creative. At the same time, he was back on the big screen in The Peanut Butter Falcon, a heartfelt indie film about an unlikely friendship. That movie became a sleeper hit, reminding audiences that behind the tabloid headlines, there was still a talented actor ready to surprise us.
But Shia's life has never been simple. In 2020, he faced new legal troubles when his former girlfriend, musician FKA Twigs, filed a lawsuit against him alleging abuse. The allegations shocked fans and reignited debates about how to separate art from the artist. Shia didn't publicly fight the claims. Instead, he issued a statement admitting he had been abusive to myself and everyone around me for years, and that he was working on himself and his recovery. The controversy put his career on hold once again, with several projects distancing themselves from him. Yet even now, as the dust settles, Shia's story is far from over. He's known for reinventing himself, for finding new ways to express what's going on inside. Whether he'll manage to rebuild his career, or if he'll keep living on the edge, only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The line between Shia the actor and Shia the performance artist has always been blurry, and that's what makes him so fascinating. So, is Shia LaBeouf a cautionary tale of Hollywood excess? Or a misunderstood genius struggling to find his place in a world that never stops watching? Hit that subscribe and stay tuned for more stories like this.
Do it! Wake up and work.